Welcome to Shakespeare FC, the Sonnets, a 5-minute journey into the iambic opinations on life, love, death, and desire, with a smattering of nature and naughtiness, from the mind of our literary epicure from Warwickshire, or, as you become more familiar, Uncle Will. I'm your host, Kari Marshall. In his sonnets, Uncle Will wrote from a very personal place about the human condition, all in just 14 lines. But in that meager space, we can find an absolute wealth of human experience that you just might identify with. So, let's you and I go on a little journey. Today, Uncle Will is in a thoughtful mood. Out of his 154 sonnets, for the time being we won't be dealing with the 6 others that appear within his plays, William addressed 2 specific people, a beautiful youth and the dark lady. In the first of his sonnets, which is not necessarily the order in which they were written, he starts out by writing to the unnamed youth, touching on the themes of beauty, responsibility, and the birds and the bees. In the first quatrain, he addresses the young man, a rather comely youth, about how all beautiful creatures should reproduce, ensuring that when death inevitably comes, they will have not only an heir to reflect their beauty, but also to keep their memory alive.
From fairest creatures we desire increase, that thereby beauty's rose might never die. But as the riper should by time decease, his tender heir might bear his memory.
In the second quatrain, Uncle Will criticizes the young man by alluding to the fact that he, at times, seems rather preoccupied with his looks, his beautiful eyes, which he sees as the flame of life, burning with the fuel of self-regard, which not only makes the boy his own worst enemy, but actually is, Uncle Will proposes, a form of self-cruelty.
But thou, contracted to thine own bright eyes, feedest thy light's flame with self-substantial fuel, making a famine where abundance lies, thyself thy foe, to thy sweet self too cruel.
In the third quatrain, though, he frames the youth as the world's most beautiful ornament, whose beauty is so great as to be the harbinger of spring, no less. But by keeping this to himself, by not passing his pleasing traits onto a child, he is selfishly and churlishly wasting his beauty.
Thou that art now the world's fresh ornament, and only herald to thy gaudy spring, within thine own bud buryest thy content, and, tender churl, makest waste iniggarding.
In the final couplet, he pleads with the boy to take pity on the world, or else be seen as a selfish glutton, who, having not passed on his gorgeous, beauteous bounty onto a child, devours what actually belongs to the world by taking it and all that it could become to his grave.
Pity the world, or else this glutton be, to eat the world's due by the grave and thee.
Strong stuff here. This is actually the first of 17 sonnets that Uncle Will penned for his young male friend, known as the Fair Youth Sonnets. The identity of this comely creature that Uncle Will finds to be so easy on the eye remains a huge bone, the size of a blue whale's mandible, of contention amongst scholars and armchair authorities across the globe. Though there are some strong arguments for the likes of Henry Wriothesley, 3rd Earl of Southampton, others postulate it was actually Uncle Will's nephew, William Hart, but at this point, we simply don't know. What we do know is that his words have been passed down to us. All we have to do is open our eyes to see their beauty. Well, alas and alack, my friends, that is all we have time for. Join us again next time for another hopefully informative journey into the mind of Uncle William. I'm Kari Marshall. Farewell until next time. Shakespeare FC is a production of WGTE Public Media. You can learn more and download all episodes at wgte.org/sfc or wherever you get your podcasts.